Well, everyone, this is Ready to Play week, and we're focused on youth sports today. It's amazing all of the different things that are going on in our city in terms of how we're re-engaging with sports. Baseball came back really quick. We're still kind of holding our breath, hoping that is going well. The soccer fields are starting to get filled up with kids again. Lacrosse all over Franklin Park last night. Really exciting to see kids back out playing games, but we want to make sure that we're doing that safely. And today we're joined by really the leaders of some of the largest youth sports organizations in our city. Today I want to welcome Jay Coleman, who runs Blue Lions Lacrosse. He's been doing that for 12 years. My good friend Nick Garcia, who runs Sporting Brookside right here in the heart of Kansas City, and Shane Hackett, who is the president of Heartland Soccer, one of the largest or the largest youth sports soccer organizations in the country. Is that right? Is that right, Shane?
Yeah, that's right. We have largest soccer league in the country. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, it's so amazing. So these gentlemen have had to make a lot of hard decisions over the last 10 weeks. And obviously the impact of having to shut down sports, has rippled through our society. We are a sports talk radio station here at 810. We're on 1510 AM this morning and ESPN 94.5. We're broadcasting live. We feel like this conversation is super important, but what I want to do is I want to start off just talking about your general experience with learning about COVID, learning what was going to happen, how you pulled your teams together to try to make the quick decision to make safety the primary emphasis of how we were going to move forward. So let's just kind of jump into that. Nick, I want to start with you. Your organization seemed to form some sort of coalition with a bunch of different soccer leagues. Tell me a little bit about how it happened and what you guys came up with.
Sure. I think like everyone, right, when we heard that COVID could potentially shut everything down from sports to schools to businesses, big and small, we knew it was something serious. In our 41-year history as a not-for-profit, we've never not had a season. So when our board of directors knew that was going to be a possibility, we kind of backed into this thinking, well, what would the next step be? What is the long-term play? So for us, really, at the end of the day, it wasn't about the next week. It wasn't really about the next month, but it was about the next season. So we had almost 3,000 registrants. We knew that we would have an option of refunding, transferring, or getting donations from families. We knew that people would be happy. We knew that people would be disgruntled if we had to pause or cancel a season. So for us, it was our board of directors. It was the city. It was Sporting Kansas City that operates Swope Soccer Village there for the city. So there were a lot of moving parts, and we really kind of started this crisis mode early on, knowing that something was going to happen. We just didn't know how big and how soon.
Hey, Jay, with lacrosse, one thing I noticed is that people are so passionate about what you guys are doing. You have a small, really passionate fan base, and parents get super involved in lacrosse. Tell me a little bit about what you guys experienced as a league and with the other lacrosse organizations.
Well, it went with us. It was even a little bit different because our high school season and our youth season is in the spring. So we had to start out by figuring out what are we going to do with our regular high school season, and obviously that blew up pretty fast because of when the state of Kansas said there would be no high school sports. That kind of led us in the direction that we would have to cancel the high school season on both the girls' side, both the boys and girls' side, which is which is not good because all the seniors didn't get to play anymore and all that kind of stuff. So it was it made all that interesting. So we kind of got an early start on trying to figure out what was going forward. And I think with lacrosse, we fall into one of those gray areas where we are a contact sport. And so for us, it's been a little bit different trying to figure out what we can and what we can't do. And so like what we tried to do is follow the guidelines. When we started practices, we would only have 9 players there plus a coach. We've still not let the kids have contact. It's going to be interesting. The first tournament of the year is this weekend. It was supposed to be at Shields, but when Kansas extended the deadline, it's going to be played at Swope now. So the parents are going to have to stand outside the fence, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, hopefully it works, but we won't know till it happens.
Yeah, Shane, you guys have been working really hard trying to figure this thing out. What sort of conversations have you had within your organization and outside your organization? I'm sure that communication has been super important for what you're doing with all the different players you have and how big your league is.
Yeah, Nick and I work together, and so we're all kind of one of the larger soccer communities. And as everything was unfolding so quickly with the virus, we had started the spring soccer season, got 2 weekends in, and then we shut it down, and we're really waiting to follow the local government and CDC. Well, that ultimately became the season was canceled, and we are not scheduled to come back again until league again till August 15th. We're from a programming side, we've added a couple of tournaments in early August, and from some friendlies really just to get the kids back out, but we don't have any programming scheduled until August now.
I joined the Play Coalition. They're a large they're not an organization. They're a large group of nonprofits that have come together. There's probably 3,000 nonprofits, youth sports organizations. They're trying to get Congress to provide money to youth sports organizations, $8.5 billion. And I think they're doing a really good job of getting the senators to understand the impact this has had economically on leagues like yours. Can you, Shane, talk a little bit about the impact it's had? I mean, obviously, you're going to be hurting, but what have you determined is going to be, are you worried?
That's a great question. I think we are worried. I mean, we're a youth sports nonprofit. The number one goal, and Nick and I have discussed this on the phone. Safety's the very first thing that we look at. With our kids playing out there, and we have at Heartland Soccer, we've got 4 specific all turf, truly world-class soccer facilities, and they happen to be located in 4 different cities, 3 different counties. So there's a lot of different government pieces to kind of go through, and the impact from a financial side, since you brought up what they're talking about, trying to give some type of aid. I know that a lot of the groups, they're struggling. They're not built for not having a season. Heartland Soccer, we're going into our 44th year. Yeah, we've had some times where we had a lot of rain during the spring, and maybe we had a shortened season of 6 games because you just couldn't get the games in because you'd tear up the grass fields. Now we play on synthetic turf. Those are issues. But, it's difficult. This year on the tournament side, we refunded over $1 million in cash to all the teams that they're registered for tournaments. And then on the league side, we've issued credits for this coming up fall season, so that so everybody that played can come back and get them. But most of us, all of our organizations have large financial commitments for these soccer complexes. Since our inception, going all the way back to Heritage Soccer Park, we pay for those fields regardless if we're able to play on them or not. And so everybody's worked together, but it's a huge financial burden, and something that we're all working on kind of in real time together to figure out how to move forward, especially if the fall is canceled for some reason.
Jay, lacrosse is a microcosm of that, but I'm sure that you have obligations that you've had to sign long-term relationships with. What economically, how are you feeling about the whole thing?
We're in the same situation everybody else is. I think we have we, for whatever reason, had not determined a lot of tournaments that we were going to play in this summer, because we're kind of going back and forth about, everything with lacrosse, you basically have to travel, because there's basically one or two local tournaments here a year. So you really have to spend a lot of time deciding how many trips you can take parents on, because we're not talking about going a short way. It's usually, we have to go to Texas, we have to go to Chicago, we have to go to places like that, which gets very it's expensive. And so we had not put a lot of money down for tournaments this summer, which I am very grateful for, because a lot of the tournaments are having trouble giving the money back because they already spent it, for all the stuff they had to pay for. So it's definitely impacted us. I mean, luckily we're financially sound, so we'll be okay. And hopefully it will all come back. But, I had a lot of families this summer who just basically said, we enjoyed the quarantine. We're going to take the summer off. We're going to go somewhere and hopefully the kids come back and hopefully they play again. But it's going to be fine at some point, I hope.
I think so. I think you're right. I mean, our passion for sports is going to override everything, and obviously, my 11-year-old son, he's initially he was scared to get on his bike and go outside. I mean, and then slowly you kind of coach him through it and get him out there, and now he's getting more and more active. But it certainly is a struggle. He's a diver in the summer, and the pools weren't going to open, and all the things that we all had to worry about as parents. Just exponentially multiply that with thousands of kids that you guys are dealing with, and I don't envy your situation. Hey, Nick. Obviously Heartland soccer. Obviously Heartland soccer is big and lacrosse is small. You kind of fit in the middle, but you provide an enormous amount of recreational play for kids. And I know that you've done a really good job of trying to keep kids engaged with your sport through the summer. Certainly difficult to do without being able to get coaches and teams together. Are you feeling like your guys are going to navigate through this and just hold on, or are you worried? Are you worried that you might lose it? Because, I think it's a story to be told.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I think we're concerned. Worry, I think, kind of concedes that we're out of control. And yes, we are out of control about this situation, but I think we're concerned about the future. Mm-hmm. And I think if you look at when we paused and then had to postpone the season, one of the first things that we looked at was the physical component, we looked at the mental health well-being component, and we looked at the social piece. One of our board members, Matt Pritchett, is the soccer coach and PE coach there at Pembroke Hill. And he said in one of our meetings specifically, we need to pay attention to the social interaction piece that these kids will miss. And he was right. I think the social interaction piece has been massive, especially for kids that have been cooped up in their own home, who can't go out and see friends, ride the bikes, play lacrosse, dive, whatever it might be. So that was something that we kind of took to heart. The other piece was kind of this at-home soccer program. So we have used a company called Tapia for the past 3 years. We employed them here again when COVID hit for kind of this at-home app piece that we shot out to everybody from kindergarten all the way up to high school on the rec side, on the competitive side. So we truly wanted to kind of leave no stone unturned when it came to opportunities for families. And we knew that, with kids not being in school, PE would pretty much be missed. For those that wanted to do some of these soccer app pieces there through Tapia, that was an outlet. So I think we kind of checked off those boxes. And then from a health and wellness piece, talking with our partners there at Children's Mercy and Team Cura to give people maybe an outlet for those who were struggling at home. So we definitely tried to approach it from a holistic piece. I think moving forward, when we start to open up, and my son has had baseball. And for the baseball folks, it seems like COVID has never happened. For the soccer folks, it's going to be a little bit different, right? Yeah. We have soccer camps right now that we are having there at St. Anne's in Prairie Village. They've been well attended. They've all been sold out. And I can't tell you how many parents have said, hey, you know what? Thank you very much for having a summer camp, because all of our other camps are gone. So it affords parents and kids another opportunity. So again, like Shane and everybody else, we are following the CDC guidelines, local guidelines, to try to do the most and the best we can in a safe environment.
Well, you're speaking exactly what Ready to Play is all about. And I know I called you early on with Ready to Play. I called all three of you and I said, hey, we're trying to create, content for kids. And you were all over it with Tapia. And I'm sure that the other leagues have provided, opportunities for kids to engage at home. This idea that we are going to just jump back out onto the fields and with no activity for, 10 weeks, that the athletes that didn't do anything you're going to see them. They're going to see them winded. You're going to see them get injured. We had the orthopedic surgeon, head of youth sports medicine at University of Kansas on. He's seen an uptick in injuries. It's something that's, I think, is really we need to pay attention to. And as you say, the mental wellness, the social interactions that kids get to enjoy by playing sports have been ripped away from them. And we're here, spending this whole week talking about this impact that COVID has had on kids. We are broadcasting from 1 to 3 every single day, trying to tell the story of what this is all about. And today I'm joined by the heads of the area leagues, lacrosse, soccer. We're going to have baseball on and talk to them about what they're doing. And I just think that these conversations are really critically important. When you look to the future, Jay, the rest of your summer, kind of play it out for us. How's lacrosse going to handle the safe return to lacrosse?
Well, so we got the tournament this weekend, and then we are basically we're staying with the social distancing piece. I mean, we'll play this tournament, see what happens, and then we're going to go back to doing our small group stuff because for the time being, I think that is still the safest route to go. I don't want our kids. I mean, I want our kids to be as safe as possible. I think Nick brought up an interesting point about the baseball thing. I mean, he's right. It seems like baseball never stopped. And I don't know if he's getting those or if Heartland's getting people saying like, well, how come baseball gets to do something and you guys don't get to do something? And so that's been an interesting dynamic, but, our summer will play out, but we'll try to do some small group stuff. Maybe if there's another local tournament, try to do that. And then, hopefully be able to get going for the fall. I think that's all we can do at this point.
Gotcha. Well, good. Nick, Brookside is doing camps and they're sold out. What else? Are you guys going to you're going to go into the fall expecting to have a season, I take it?
Yeah, for our competitive folks, much like all the other competitive organizations here in town, we're full steam ahead. So everyone's going to go dark here for about a month, get back together, get going. We're going to have league play, as Shane said, start the middle of August. The idea is to front load the games. So that way, if things are paused or there's a cancellation, we've gotten a majority of the games in. For our recreational side, we have had to unwind almost 3,000 registrations for transfers, donations, and refunds. So right now we've got about 400 to 500 left, which I think is phenomenal. I've got 2 dedicated staff members who do that for us. And we're going to open up registration here after the 4th of July. And we're pretty much going to have that open from July all the way through the first part of September. If and when school opens up, we're going to kind of pause for that a little bit, get more people in. So everyone's temperature is different, right? Some people don't want to come back. We respect that. Some people want to come back guns a-blazing. We respect that. But we know that much like lacrosse here this weekend, who's going to have limited ability for parents there at Swope, we too are anticipating that being a potential issue for us. Maybe game times will have to be staggered a little bit more to balance some of that social distancing stuff out. So we are working through all kinds of different potential plans, knowing that we need to get the games in for the kids' sake, but it has to be safe. So that's kind of how we're starting this venture.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you guys' time. We just had someone join us for the high school coaches show. I'm going to put you in a waiting room, Coach. Is that okay? Sean Hayden? Yeah, I'm going to put you in a waiting room, and we're going to finish off this conversation, and then we'll be back. Sorry about that. Okay. So just to finish things off, oh, shoot, I messed up. I got to do it one more time. Sorry. Hopefully they can edit this out. Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, I'm Bill Brandmeier. We're here with Ready to Play Week. We're talking with the heads of the area youth leagues, some of the top leagues in our city: Blue Lions Lacrosse, Heartland Soccer, and Sporting Brookside. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today. I've got one last question for you as we kind of end this thing off. I really want to talk to you about what your personal passion is around youth sports, why you are doing what you're doing. I think what is getting lost in this whole idea that we're away from sports is that these youth sports organizations that were created fundamentally just to provide access for kids to play a game that we all love to watch and enjoy and get life lessons out of. All your organizations are suffering, and so I just want to talk about why you're doing what you're doing, what makes you want to keep driving this thing forward, and what this whole COVID thing has taught you about the love and passion you have for your sport. Shane, let's start with you. Talk to me a little bit about what is this all about for you?
Sure. Well, I was lucky as a kid. I had a German soccer coach pick me out of a group of kids because I was the fastest kid in school. And what I didn't realize is that I would end up learning some of the greatest life lessons, being able to play on a soccer team, which is a team sport. And so many of the things that, we learn, the socialization, how to get along with people. I often say, if you think about all your teammates you had growing up and into college or even in the professional level like Nick, you don't necessarily like them all off the field, but when you get on the field, you have to operate as a team. You have to work. I mean, what an incredible lesson for life skills as we get into the workplace as we grow older. And I made my best friends in life who I'm still very, very close to. All through playing on the soccer field together. And, there's obviously, you've got the physical side. And as we were talking about earlier, kind of the emotional, the psychological side. And that is to be able to get out there. It's the friendships. It's all those pieces. And so that's what I love about it, and specifically about the game of soccer is that almost any person can get out and any child can get out and play soccer, at the very youngest. Like I have my grandson just started playing at the age of 4. I'm not even sure if you call it soccer. They do run. Occasionally somebody kicks the ball. Not even sure it goes in the right goal the most time, but they get out and they have so much fun. So our sport, you can play it at a very, very small skill level all the way up to, the professional level and the kids who play the competitive soccer. So it really supplies an outlet for exercise and for that social interaction at all different skill levels. And I think it's one of the testaments to why soccer is so big. I grew up playing all sports: basketball, baseball, soccer, football. Baseball takes a lot of hand-eye coordination. If you've ever been a parent, which I have been, sitting at a youth baseball game, sometimes it gets a little bit boring. In soccer, there's always some action going on. So that's really what it brings the passion, I think, for a lot of us.
Yeah. Jay, do you have anything to add? I mean, obviously, passion for sports and youth.
Yeah, I think Sean pretty much summed it up there with lacrosse. I mean, I was one of the people that brought lacrosse to Kansas City, and we want to continue to grow the game, and that's the passion I have for it, is like getting more kids out and doing more stuff. I think it's that simple. And the best part is Sean said, the socialization part is getting to meet all these kids from all sides of the city, all parts of the city. I think that's huge, and I think that the kids miss that, and I think that's the best part about it.
Anything to finalize things with, Nick?
No, I mean, the guys hit the nail on the head. Fun, affordable, inclusive, grassroots programming, right?
Yeah.
Because kids have to start somewhere. It doesn't matter religion, creed, color of the skin, whether they've had anyone in the family play the game or not. For me, I see my pathway defined as the executive director here at Brookside, helping anyone that wants to enjoy the game. So anything I can do to pass on the love of the game is great. And whether they play for a season, 10 years or whatever, go to lacrosse, basketball, I just want more people in this city and in this country to understand and appreciate the culture, because it has been a great sport for me. Much like Jay and Shane, I think we're in positions now where we can help kind of direct and guide our ship, and we've learned along the way. So I think these experiences give us the upper hand on making things better for the kids out there today.
Well, you guys have a really important role to play. I really appreciate your time. Shane Hackett from Heartland Soccer, Jay Coleman from Blue Lions Lacrosse, and Nick Garcia from Sporting Brookside. Just an amazing conversation. We're spending taking an in-depth look at youth sports in Kansas City, how these leagues are safely coming back online. We're excited to get back out and play. We have to do it safely. If you're in the stands watching your kids play, wear a mask. It's just really important to do. I want to reiterate that for everyone, and I just want to keep continuing people to stay safe, follow the guidelines, and do what's right. This is Bill Brandmeier with Ready to Play Week. We've just featured the heads of leagues. We are live on ESPN 95.5 and 1510 AM. We'll be here all week, so continue to listen and watch. Thank you guys for your time, and I can't wait to continue to work for you. And please listen. Help us promote Ready to Play Week. We will be raising money for organizations to provide access to your sports this week, and any opportunities that we can to provide scholarships for kids, to get kids involved in your leagues. Please let us know. We want to help fund some opportunities with the money that we help raise this week. So encourage you all to keep listening and paying attention and help promote us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone.
Bill.
All right, guys. Take care.